5 o'clock. Now, friends, looks like it's raining quite heavily in Pune, from where I'm telecasting this program. There is a full possibility that the signal may disappear in between. And if that happens, not to worry about it, because generally it gets connected automatically. So let's see how it goes. How to become rich from the share market? Who doesn't want to become rich? Everybody wants to become rich. Not only they want to become rich, but they want to become rich very quickly. They want to become rich in a ziffy. Is it really possible to become rich from the share market, or it is not possible to become rich from the share market? If one has to become rich from the share market, then what are the things one should know? And what are the precautions that one should take so as to ensure कि कहीं ऐसा ना हो कि लेने के देने पड़ जाएं? और हकीकत में many times it does happen. So stock markets are a mixed bag. Mixed bag. How to make sure that for us it is not a mixed bag? For us, it is an opportunity where we are able to make profit continuously. This is the purpose, friends, that we have of our session today. Now, before I start, I would simply like to mention to every one of you all the videos, all the programs that we are delivering as part of this 30 days, 30 topics, 30 programs. All these programs are being live telecast on YouTube, are being live telecast on Facebook, and of course, they are on the Zoom in any case. And not only all these programs are being live telecast, but they are also recorded and then uploaded on the Facebook page of the Pimpri Chinchwad Education Trust, and also on the Facebook, on the YouTube channel of Pimpri Chinchwad Education Trust. So in case if anyone of you wish to revise them, you can always go to the portal of Pimpri Chinchwad Education Trust and you can view it again. And the advantage there is the entire recording is available as it is being delivered, because those of you who are watching me on the YouTube channel, you will not have the access, or you will not have the facility to view the PPT which is simultaneously being telecast. But if you wish to also view the PPT simultaneously, you can go to the Pimpri Chinchwad Education Trust Pune Business School, and वहां पर ये आपको सारे video recordings मिल जाएंगे. So not only you will get the video recording of today, you will get all the video recordings of all the past sessions as well. Not only past sessions, but also the future sessions. So today we are on the 18th day. We have 12 more days to go, and 12 more topics we are going to cover in the days to come. So everything is going to be available on the portal of Pimpri Chinchwad Education Trust. How to become rich from share market? Purpose of this session, friends, is no one will earn money for you. You have to do it by yourself. Hardcore reality of life. एक चीज है, बहुत समझ के लीजिए, बहुत ही क्लियरली समझ के लीजिए कि इस दुनिया में कोई भी आपके लिए पैसा कमाने वाला नहीं है. You have to earn money by yourself. Beware of greed. Scams after scams happen only because of greed of people. अब मैं आपको बताऊं कि in last 35-40 years I must have heard of so many scams, one after the other. And incidentally, the motive और वो जो मछली को फंसाने का जो तरीका है, वो सब सारे स्कैम्स में एक ही है. Offer extremely high rate of return. And since all these scams offered a very high rate of return to the prospective praise, I would say, they all got caught and lost their money. Many of them lost their money, lost their earnings of whole life, as much as, unfortunately, many of them even took the last extreme step of losing their life. So remember, friends, beware of greed. Beware of greed, because जितने भी scams होते हैं सबके पीछे greed is the main reason as to why people succeed in fooling others. Beware shortcuts more often than not cut the life short. समझ के लीजिए और अपने मन में उसको पक्का बिठा के लीजिए. Tips sooner or later leads to pits. So it is the people who are fond of who wants to make money very quickly, who wants to become rich very quickly and without efforts. They're always looking for these shortcuts. So number one, remember, shortcuts many times leads to cutting the life short. And number two, and these people are always looking forward to the tips कि कहीं से कोई टिप मिल जाए कि कौन सा शेयर लेना चाहिए, कौन सा नहीं लेना चाहिए और किस में इन्वेस्ट करना चाहिए. So they are always looking for these kind of tips. And remember, more often than not, or in the ultimate analysis, all these people running after the tips finally get into the pits. And that is what also we need to remember as a person who is wanting to delve into the share market. Losers do not remain to tell their woes, but gainers remain to blow their trumpet. And ये कहानी है स्टॉक मार्केट की दोस्तों कि जो लोग यहाँ लुट जाते हैं, पिट जाते हैं और अपना सब कुछ लूज कर जाते हैं, वो लोग दोबारा लौट के नहीं आते हैं बताने के लिए कि भाई मैंने ये गलती करी, मैं ऐसे लुट गया, बर्बाद हो गया. वो चले जाते हैं. लेकिन जो कुछ लोग, और ऐसे लोग काफी हैं, और जो कुछ लोग जो कुछ कर जाते हैं, कुछ हासिल कर लेते हैं, they keep on, they're there to tell their stories, and their stories many times tempt others to get into the share market. And getting into the share market is nothing wrong, friends. Share market is one place from where if you're not able to make money, then something is seriously wrong with you. There is no reason as to why a person should not be able to make money from the share market, because share market is a wonderful place, and especially for a country like India, where the economy is so strong. It is so strongly placed today also despite COVID, and therefore one should always be able to make money from the stock market. But at the same time, remember, don't be greedy. Don't be greedy, because if you are being greedy, then you will get into a trouble. But if you are being rational, if you are being studious, then you will definitely be able to make money from the share market. Stock markets are a zero sum game. और ये चीज समझ के लीजिए और ध्यान से सुन के लीजिए, because what does it mean? It means in the stock market is not producing cars. Stock market is not growing grams or grain or wheat. Stock market is just an institution where people are trading into the shares. So really speaking, what share market is doing, share market is only a facilitator for the mobilization of capital. Share market does not have its own product, and therefore please remember, share market as a facilitator is a zero sum game. Now what is the meaning of zero sum game? The meaning of zero sum game is that in share market, somebody's loss is somebody else's gain, or somebody's gain is somebody else's loss. So share market में आप तभी पैसा कमाएंगे जबकि किसी को नुकसान हो. The only thing is, since it is a continuing activity and it has been continuing for decades altogether, therefore these impacts are not felt so much unless and until somebody become panicky and out of the fear, out of the panic, disposes his shares, or out of the greed gets into the shares which are totally fraud. So totally fraud, then you are in trouble. Otherwise, if you play sensibly, even though it is a zero sum game, because it is a continuing process, if you play sensibly by being rational and studious, you can still make money in the share market. You can not only make money in the share market, you can make good money in the share market. But remember, it is not a part-time job, it is almost like a full-time job. What is that you and I have to do to make good money in the share market? What is that you and I need to understand for becoming rich from the share market? That is what we are going to discuss in this program. Even though the stock market is a zero sum game, but still one can become rich by not being greedy, but by being studious and rational. And this is what you and I have to remember, friends. I have to share, because it is very common nowadays. People, marketing themselves, advertising themselves, and making all kinds of tall claims that we will give you so much of returns, that return, 100% return, double your money in 3 months, and things like that. Remember, never fall prey to such tall claims, because if anyone had such a magic band in his hand, he would not be marketing himself by making all those tall claims. So be rational, be studious. And what is the meaning of being rational, being studious? That is what we will understand and learn in this session that we have today. So friends, finally, the purpose of this session is to make the participants aware of the things which they ought to know to not lose their shirt, in the stock market operations. Instead, increase their wealth from the share market. And that is the purpose and objective of this session that we have today. So we would be looking at the things that we ought to know for succeeding in the share market. ये हमारा मकसद है, ये हमारा पर्पज है कि हम वो चीजों को डिस्कस करें, वो चीजों को समझ के लें कि जिनको समझने से और जिनके ऊपर जानकारी हासिल करने से we would be able to succeed in the share market and make good money. Please remember, share market is for making good money because there's so many examples all over the world. पूरी दुनिया में हजारों लाखों examples हैं कि लोगों ने अरबों खरबों कमाया शेयर मार्केट से. Warren Buffett is a classic example. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala is a classic example. There's so many of them. And remember, it is not that everybody has to reach to the point of Warren Buffett or Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. Even if you are able to get a return of 100%, 200%, and double or triple or 4 times or 10 times your wealth, I think that's good enough because that will give you a very good living standard in any case. So what are the things that we ought to know, friends, to succeed in the share market? Let us understand them one by one. First and foremost, हमें समझना होगा what are the types of players there in the stock market. So किस तरह के players stock market में रहते हैं, हम सबसे पहले वो समझ के लेंगे. Then gaining ground in the functioning of capital market. So obviously जिस मैदान में हमको कुश्ती लड़नी है, जिस मैदान में हमको पहलवानी करनी है, जिस मैदान में हमको खेलना है, तो हमको सबसे पहले ये मालूम होना चाहिए कि वो मैदान क्या है, उस मैदान के रूल्स क्या हैं, उस मैदान के रेगुलेशंस क्या हैं, वो मैदान का काम कैसे चलता है. So we will understand the functioning of the capital market so that we are comfortable of the ground where we are going to play. Number 3, financial literacy. And remember, I'm highlighting, friends, financial literacy, an absolute necessity to differentiate between a good investment and a bad investment. So please remember, if you wish to become rich from the share market, one thing that you ought to know definitely is ability to differentiate between a good investment and bad investment. If you are not able to differentiate between a good investment and bad investment, you can understand what is going to happen if you come to the share market. And for being able to understand and differentiate between a good investment and bad investment, what do you need? You need to have a good financial literacy. So what is that which you need to know as far as the financial literacy is concerned? That is what we are going to cover at point number 3. And then at the point number 4, friends, we would cover fundamental analysis for investing in good stocks. अब देखिए एक चीज बताता हूं आपको. All said and done, what drives the prices of the stocks on the stock market? So what drives the prices of the stock market, friends, are only 2 things. Number 1 is the fundamentals, and number 2 is the sentiments. So the 2 things that drive the prices of the stock market, number 1 is fundamental and number 2 are the sentiments. All said and done, fundamental is something that you have to adhere to. So you have to be very strong as far as the fundamentals are concerned. And why you have to be very strong as far as the fundamentals are concerned? So that you are always covering your downside. And you also need to understand the sentiments, because sentiments will help you to take the benefit of good opportunities of making quick money from the share market. And that is what you need to understand. I'm sure, friends, those of you who are already into it, or those of you who must be wanting to get into it, will be wondering as to why is that, despite the fact that the country is suffering from the COVID, the whole country, the entire economy of the country is suffering from COVID, how is that the stock market Sensex is still ruling beyond the point of 40,000? And that is because of the fundamentals. How is that when COVID broke out, the market went down? The market went down because of the sentiments. I'm sure you understand. So जब मार्च के महीने में जब कोविड ब्रेकआउट हुआ, तो आपने देखा कि अप्रैल onwards the market started coming down, and it came down substantially. And remember, that is where the real operators in the share market would have made killing. They would have made killing. So that was the time when a shrewd investor would have entered the share market. And today perhaps is the time where he would be booking profit slowly, 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 slowly. So that is what we need to understand. Number one, what drives the market? Market is driven by two things. Number one is the fundamentals, and number two is the sentiment. As a shrewd investor, as a person wanting to make rich, want to become rich from the stock market, you have to have good understanding of the fundamentals and of the sentiments. Fundamentals we would cover. Sentiments, of course, is something which is totally up to a person. And how to take the advantage of the sentiment is, of course, up to the person, because it would depend on a lot of factors of that person. What is his holding capacity? What is his leveraging capacity? What is his long-term view? What is the need of the money that he has? So all those factors will weigh as far as the sentiments are concerned. Fundamentals we will discuss. So whenever you're wanting to make an investment in a share, remember the first thing that you need to do, look at the fundamentals of that script. If the fundamentals of that script sounds good to you, make investment. And why make investment? Because if a share is fundamentally strong, whatever may happen to the market, this share will continue to be stable. And even if it goes down, you really do not have to worry, because this share would bounce back soon. And why would it bounce back soon? Because it is a fundamentally strong share. So we will also understand, friends, what is fundamental analysis and how to do the fundamental analysis. Then we will also understand approaches and methods to find intrinsic value of shares, because ultimately हमें क्या करना है, हमको शेयर मार्केट में इन्वेस्टमेंट करना है, बाय करना है, सेल करना है, बाय करना है. So like that we have to be operating in the share market for trying to be rich, become rich from the share market. So obviously we need to have the understanding and the ability to value these shares, to find out कि भाई ये शेयर की क्या वैल्यू होनी चाहिए आज की तारीख में, so that we are able to take the advantage. Sometimes it can happen that fundamentally the value of a share is to be very 100 rupees, but today it is available in the market for 70 rupees. That means the share is today underpriced. It's an opportunity to buy, and vice versa. So today a share is available, is being sold in the market for 150, but it is likely that the fundamentals of the share tells you that they should not be more than 100 rupees. So therefore it's a good opportunity to get out of that share at 150, and tomorrow when it comes down to the fundamental base price of the share, you can again re-enter. So we will understand, friends, what are the different approaches and the methods for finding the intrinsic value of different shares. And of course, finally, we would also look at how to identify the value stocks, growth stocks, and the multi-baggers. So what is a value stock? Value stock is a stock which is currently available in the market at a very low price, whereas it has got the potential of commanding much higher price. So it's a value stock. That means this share has a value already into it. Growth stock are the stocks which are in the going forward, in the times to come. These shares are going to grow like anything and will give you handsome returns as a result of the growth. And then of course we talk in terms of multi-baggers. So a growth stock or a value stock can be a multi-bagger. So multi-bagger is supposed to be a share where the returns are almost like 100% or more than that. So how to identify such kind of multi-baggers? Finally, this is what we would look at. So this is the agenda, friends, that we have. And let's start with the first one, that is types of players in the stock market. तो मेरा जो ऑब्जर्वेशन है फ्रेंड्स, और मेरी जो स्टडी है स्टॉक मार्केट की, उसके हिसाब से मैं सोचता हूं कि देयर आर थ्री काइंड्स ऑफ प्लेयर्स इन द स्टॉक मार्केट. नंबर वन, पीपल हु आर रिएक्टिव. These are day traders, short-term players. They are trying to make a killing by riding on the horses of all sorts of market news and hot tips. So these are the people who are day traders. तो वो रोजाना खरीदते हैं, सेल करते हैं, और उनकी कोशिश होती है कि रोजाना खरीद करके सेल करके वो कुछ प्रॉफिट बना लें. Now, in my view, and I would never recommend anyone to do day trading, because I can, we have a limitation of time, but I can tell you 10,000 reasons as to why day trading is not advisable for a common person. Someone who has got a lot of money and has got nothing else to do, that person can go into the market and do day trading, because उसके पास कुछ करने के लिए है नहीं, और इतना पैसा है उसके पास में कि वो 1000 1 2000 1 लाख 2 लाख अगर रोजाना हार भी जाए तो उसको परवाह नहीं. For such person, for is to do day trading is fine, because for him it's a time pass activity. But a common person should never dare to get into the day trading, unless and until, as I said earlier, you got a lot of money कि 1 2 लाख अगर चला भी गया तो परवाह नहीं, and you got a lot of time, and you have nothing else to do. So the first category of people that you have in the market, the market is reactive day traders. The second category is what I call as active players or professional players. So these are the people, these are the players who are informed and knowledgeable players. तो ये लोग वो हैं जिनको कि स्टॉक मार्केट की नॉलेज है, स्टॉक मार्केट की अंडरस्टैंडिंग है, एंड वो दे टेक एवरी मूव which is very well calculated. So and these people are able to turn calamity also into an opportunity. So remember, the breakout of COVID was a calamity for many, and in the same calamity there are people who have made very good money, and these are the active players. So these are the active professional players. The third category is passive, or I call them as long-term investor. Long-term investor. And remember, friends, if you want to become rich from the share market, you should always be a long-term investor. And when I say you should be a long-term investor, please remember, at any given point in time, share market has got thousands of stocks which are very strong, and in the long run they will always give you very attractive return. So it's not that you really have to be extremely stock market savvy to find out as to which are the scripts you must invest your money in. If you can do that, nothing like that. But otherwise also you can pick up 7 8 10 scripts very easily, get them invested for a long term. So these are the third category of people, long term investor. They pick up these sectors, companies of their choice, invest in them, and then forget until necessary. तो ये लोग क्या करते हैं, अपना पैसा अच्छी कंपनियों को सेलेक्ट करते हैं, पिकअप करते हैं, इंडस्ट्री को पिकअप करते हैं, सेक्टर को पिकअप करते हैं, और उसमें इन्वेस्ट कर देते हैं, और फिर वो भूल जाते हैं. क्यों भूल जाते हैं? उनको मालूम है कि ये इंडस्ट्री, ये सेक्टर, ये कंपनी will do well in any case in all the times to come. So why worry? These are the third category of people, which is a permanent opportunity. For such people, friends, remember, they always make money in the share market. They always make money in the share market. And then of course there's a fourth category of the investor, and I call them as proactive, magician of the market. They are perhaps God's creation, and people like Warren Buffett. So जिसको कहते हैं कि Midas touch. So the people like Warren Buffett are the people with golden touch. So whenever they pick up any script, that script turns into gold. So these are the proactive people. So what they do, they only know. It's very difficult to really figure out as to what they do, because what they do is something which is miraculous. But you have this fourth category of players in the market. Let's now, friends, look at how do the financial markets function. So financial markets and types of securities. Let's look at them first. So what you have the securities market. It can be divided into two parts based on the term of security, and term of security का मतलब ये है short term and long term. So any security which is of long term in nature. So equity share is a long term in nature. And which is a security which is supposed to be long term in nature. So a security where the tenure is more than 1 year is supposed to be a long term security. So all these securities which are having a tenure of 1 year or more will be part of the capital market. And all these securities which have a tenure of less than 1 year are in the money market. So that is the differentiation between the capital market and the money market. And I'm sure, friend, you can understand very clearly. So in the capital market, you will have debt securities and you will have equity securities. Whereas in the money market, you will have only debt securities. And why you will have only debt securities? Because equity is always long term. And whereas debt is on can be short term or it can be long term also. But since a debt instrument which is of less than a tenure of 1 year, it becomes a short term security, and therefore it is part of the money market. And then stages of security. So you got a primary market and you got a secondary market. So primary market is when the company is raising the money from the public directly by way of the IPO, or by way of the follow-up offer. So subsequent follow-up offer. So whenever a company is raising money directly from the public, that is the primary market. And when these shares or securities are listed on the stock market, and when the investors in the market are buying and selling between them, that is the secondary market. So remember, it's only when a company is raising money in the primary market it gets the cash. In the secondary market, whatever happens, company does not get the cash, but it is important for the company because company has taken an obligation while issuing the shares or the debentures or whatever the security may be. Company has taken an obligation to ensure that these securities will be listed on a stock market, so that the holder of these securities has an opportunity to get out of them as and when he wants it. So that's your financial markets and type of securities. Then you can have stock exchanges. So you will have the trading in the stock market. One is equity trading, which is buying and selling the equity shares. Second is the debt market, where the buying and selling is happening of the debt instruments. And thirdly, you got a derivative market, derivative trading. And friends, we are confining ourselves in this session only to the share market. So we are not delving into the commodities market. Maybe some other time, but for the timing, we are confining only to the securities trading. So share market. Now derivative trading. So you can also have derivatives. So you can have options and futures. And remember, options and future is a different ball game altogether. So anyone who wishes to be dealing into the options and future really has to ensure that he obtains good understanding and knowledge of the derivatives as such before delving into the derivatives trading, because they're very risky. So even though the derivatives are supposed to be the tools for risk management, but many times they can also be the tools of mass destruction, as Warren Buffett had said once upon a time. So that is what you need to remember: equity trading, debt trading, and then derivatives trading. Now let's look at the financial literacy, and which is absolutely a necessity to differentiate between a good investment and a bad investment. अब देखिए फाइनेंशियल लिटरेसी में आपको क्या समझने की जरूरत है, that is what we would discuss now. So first of all, when you want to make money in the share market, you must understand as to what is the purpose of a business. And please remember, the purpose of any and every business in any part of the world is the same. And what that purpose is, to create value by making profit, or make profit by creating value. So any company in which you want to invest your money, or in any company in which by investing money you want to become rich, you have to check, is this company really creating value? If this company is creating value, and if you think this company would continue to create value in future also, invest your money in this company without any hesitation. Because if a company is creating value, a company which is creating value will keep on getting good valuations in the stock market. But if a company which is not creating value, forget about it getting good stock valuations, there is a full possibility that this company will close down sooner than later. So remember one thing, as far as the financial literacy is concerned, what is purpose of a business? Purpose of a business is to create value. And if you want to invest your money into a company, make sure that company is creating value. Number two that we need to understand is what is lifeline of a business. And remember, friends, what is lifeline of a business? And lifeline of a business is what? That means what is that which gives a long life to a business? So if I can ask you this question, I would really love to have your answers. But let me tell you, friends, because we are in a virtual world, the lifeline of a business is cash profit. So what gives long life to a business is the cash profit. Please remember, not cash, cash profit. And why do I say not cash, cash profit? Because cash can come from the borrowing also. Cash in a business can come from borrowing also. But with the borrowed capital, will you be able to give long life to your business? Answer is no. And why the answer is no? Because when you get the cash by way of loan, remember, not only you have to return this money back to the lenders, but you also have to pay interest on it. And since you have to pay an interest on it, your financial risk goes up. So what will give long life to your business is the cash profit. That means the EBITDA. That means the profit that you are generating from the operations. That is what will give you the long life. So therefore, if a company is generating enough oxygen, enough EBITDA, that company is where you must invest, because that company will give you, that company will make you richer from the share market. So remember, second thing that you have to check before investing your money into a company, is this company generating enough lifeline for itself? Number three, understand the profit and loss statement. And please understand, why should you understand the profit and loss statement? For the simple reason, profit is an indicator, is an indicator, will give you an idea whether a business is really doing well or not doing well. And therefore you have to understand profit. And profit can be understood in many ways, and that is what you will have to become aware. So profit can be gross profit, profit can be EBITDA, profit can be EBIT, it can be EBT, it can be EAT, it can be earning per share, it can be cash earning per share. So profit can be looked at in many ways. And remember, if you and I have to earn, if you and I have to become rich from the share market, you and I got to have very good understanding of प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस स्टेटमेंट. सीधी सी बात है, अगर किसी कंपनी में इन्वेस्ट करूंगा तो ये जानना चाहूंगा कि वो कंपनी लॉस कर रही है कि प्रॉफिट कर रही है. और कब मैं समझ पाऊंगा कि ये कंपनी प्रॉफिट कर रही है कि लॉस कर रही है? मैं ये तभी समझ पाऊंगा जब मुझे मालूम हो कि प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस को कैसे पढ़ा जाता है. सो दैट इज नंबर वन दैट यू मस्ट अंडरस्टैंड. नंबर टू, अंडरस्टैंड द बैलेंस शीट. सो बैलेंस शीट क्या है? बैलेंस शीट को कैसे इस्तेमाल करेंगे फॉर टेकिंग इन्वेस्टमेंट डिसीजन? बैलेंस शीट में क्या क्या इंफॉर्मेशन आती है? बैलेंस शीट में इंसिडेंटली वो कैपिटल की साइड और एसेट की साइड हमेशा सेम होती है. तो अगर किसी भी बैलेंस शीट की एसेट भी उतनी है और लाइबिलिटीज भी उतनी है, तो फिर ये कैसे मालूम पड़ेगा कि अच्छी बैलेंस शीट है कि बेकार बैलेंस शीट है? बिकॉज 10 कंपनियों के बैलेंस शीट आपके सामने रख दिए और 10 कंपनियां जो आपके सामने हैं, 10 कंपनियों की एसेट्स एंड लाइबिलिटीज आर सेम. हाउ डू यू रियली वर्क इट आउट कि यार इसमें से कौन सी बैलेंस शीट अच्छी है, कौन सी बैलेंस शीट अच्छी नहीं है, कौन सी बैलेंस शीट ऐसी है जिसमें कि पैसा इन्वेस्ट करना चाहिए ताकि हम मार्केट से रिच हो सकें, और कौन सी ऐसी बैलेंस शीट है जिसको कि दूर से भगा देना चाहिए? तो वो आपको समझ के लेना पड़ेगा. सो उसमें आपको क्या समझ के लेना पड़ेगा? उसमें आपको समझना लेना पड़ेगा नेटवर्थ क्या है, लॉन्ग टर्म एसेट्स क्या है, लॉन्ग टर्म लाइबिलिटीज क्या है, करंट एसेट्स क्या है, करंट लाइबिलिटीज क्या है, रिजर्व्स क्या है, कंपनी फाइनेंशियली स्ट्रांग है कि नहीं है, बैलेंस शीट को देखिए कैसे मालूम पड़ेगा? आपको समझ के लेना होगा कि कंपनी का वर्किंग कैपिटल मैनेजमेंट कैसा है, और ये आप बैलेंस शीट को देख के यू शुड बी एबल टू फिगर आउट कि भाई ये कंपनी का वर्किंग कैपिटल मैनेजमेंट अच्छा है कि नहीं है. सो ऑल द फिगर्स आर गिवन इन द बैलेंस शीट. बाय लुकिंग एट दोज numbers in the balance sheet and converting them into some relationship, some ratio, you will be able to figure out how is the asset management of this business. And obviously जिस company का asset management अच्छा है, that company will get more value on the stock market. And therefore if you invest your money into a company whose stock valuation, whose assets management is good, you will end up making rich money from that stock. So you will need to understand the balance sheet. Then you and I will need to be good in cash flow statement. So cash flow statement, remember, is another very critical instrument that जो हमको आपको समझना होगा. और कैश फ्लो में से आपको क्या मालूम पड़ता है? अब देखिए ये तीनों जो स्टेटमेंट में आपको बताया, P&L और बैलेंस शीट और कैश फ्लो स्टेटमेंट, फ्रेंड्स ये लगते कॉम्प्लेक्स हैं लेकिन बहुत आसान है, बहुत सिंपल है, खाली हमको थोड़ा सा उसमें टाइम देने की जरूरत है. तो कैश फ्लो स्टेटमेंट से आपको क्या मालूम पड़ेगा? कैश फ्लो स्टेटमेंट से आपको मालूम पड़ेगा कि ये बिजनेस में ऑपरेटिंग एक्टिविटीज से कितना कैश जनरेट हो रहा है, फाइनेंसिंग एक्टिविटीज से कितना कैश जनरेट हो रहा है, इन्वेस्टिंग एक्टिविटीज में कितना कैश यूज हो रहा है. सो दैट इज व्हाट यू विल फिगर आउट बाय लुकिंग एट द कैश फ्लो स्टेटमेंट कि ऑपरेटिंग कैश फ्लो कैसा है, इन्वेस्टिंग कैश फ्लो कैसा है और फाइनेंसिंग कैश फ्लो कैसा है. और सबसे बड़ी बात, सबसे सिंपल सी बात यह है कि हाउ टू फिगर आउट कि कैश फ्लो अच्छा है कि बुरा है. वेरी सिंपल. इफ द कैश विच इज कमिंग इनटू द बिजनेस is more than the cash which is going out of the business, that means it's a good cash flow. Or other way around, the cash going out is more, cash coming in is less, that means it is a company which has got a problem as far as the cash flow management is concerned. So this is what you will need to understand for financial literacy, for becoming rich from the share market. And friends, let me tell you once again, and I would like to highlight it, it is really easy, it is really possible to become rich from the share market, from the share market. And there is no reason as to any person who is studious and who is rational, why should he not be able to make good return from the share market? He should definitely be able to make good return from the share market. He only has to ensure that whatever we are discussing earlier and now, he is having good command on all those things. So once he has got good command on all those things, he will definitely be able to become rich from the share market. So understand the cash flow statement and also understand the relationship between the P&L, balance sheet and the cash flow. So P&L, balance sheet और cash flow में क्या relationship है? Return on capital employed क्या होता है? Return on equity क्या होता है? PE multiple क्या होता है? Price earning ratio क्या होता है? Earning per share क्या होता है? ये सारी ratios आपको मालूम हो जाए. और डेट इक्विटी रेशियो क्या है? डेट इक्विटी रेशियो से कैसे मालूम पड़ता है कि ये कंपनी की फाइनेंशियल रिस्क ज्यादा है कि कम है? करंट रेशियो से कैसे मालूम पड़ता है कि वर्किंग कैपिटल मैनेजमेंट अच्छा है कि अच्छा नहीं है? एफिशिएंसी रेशियो से कैसे मालूम पड़ता है that this company is using the assets in a very efficient manner? So this is what you and I will need to have good understanding for making money from the शेयर मार्केट. नाउ प्लीज रिमेंबर, पूरी दुनिया में ये लिख के लीजिए, ये लिख के लीजिए और पक्का करके लीजिए कि पूरी दुनिया में जितने भी लोगों ने शेयर मार्केट से पैसा बनाया है, उन लोगों ने शेयर मार्केट से पैसा तभी बनाया है जब उनकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग, वो जो सारे पॉइंट जो हम डिस्कस कर रहे हैं, उन सबकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग उनकी स्ट्रांग थी, और मे बी लिटिल मोर. Then only they have been able to make money from the share market, not otherwise. अगर कोई ये सोचे कि मैं बिना without knowing fundamental analysis, without knowing the financial literacy, I will be able to make money from the share market. Let me tell you friends, a lot of people entered into the share market without the understanding of fundamentals, without the understanding of financial literacy. They entered the share market with overconfidence that they would come and become billionaire. They lost their shirt also. And that is why we are having this program, so as to become aware of the things, so that not only we do not lose our shirt in the share market, but we also become rich from the share market. And how to read financial statement. So this is all friends that we need to understand as far as the financial literacy is concerned. Financial literacy is concerned. Now let's look at अंडरस्टैंडिंग फंडामेंटल एनालिसिस फॉर इन्वेस्टिंग इन गुड शेयर्स. अब देखिए सिंपल सा मतलब फंडामेंटल एनालिसिस का मतलब क्या है, पहले एक चीज समझ के लेते हैं. अब ये फंडामेंटल एनालिसिस का सिंपल सा मतलब ये है कि भाई जब आप किसी कंपनी में इन्वेस्ट करना चाह रहे हो तो आपको ये चेक करना है कि उस कंपनी के फंडामेंटल्स कैसे हैं. So when you are checking the fundamentals of the company in which you intend to make investment, when you are trying to check that the fundamentals, that is fundamental analysis. And how do we do the fundamental analysis? So there are many models available for doing the fundamental analysis. And please remember, do not get carried away by the jargon. It is very simple. It is known as GEIC model. So what is GEIC model? अब देखिए समझ के लीजिए, आप एक कंपनी का शेयर खरीदना चाह रहे हैं. ये कंपनी का शेयर आपको आगे प्रॉफिट देगा या लॉस देगा, ये किस चीज पे डिपेंड करेगा? The share that you are, the company in which you are investing your money, whether you will make profit from this investment or you will make loss from this investment, will depend on what? It will depend on whether this company is going to earn a profit or this company is going to earn losses. So now the question is, what will determine whether this company will earn a profit or will earn losses? Obviously, it will depend as to which industry does this company belong to. So does it belong to sunrise industry or does it belong to sunset industry? Right? So you will need to look. That means what? That means you will need to have a good understanding of the industry. So you will need to have a good industry understanding. Now, how an industry will do will depend on what? It will depend how is the economy doing. How is the economy doing, right? So what you need to understand is first, starting from the bottom, you need to understand the company in which you are making investment. Then you need to understand the industry to which this company belongs, and then you need to understand the economic scenario of the country. And you don't stop there, because today the economies are interconnected globally. So not only you need to look at the economy of the country, but you also need to look at the economy of the global. And that is how it is known as GEIC model. G stands for global, E stands for economy, I stands for industry, and C stands for company. So GEIC model is the model for fundamental analysis. Fundamental analysis का मतलब क्या है? Fundamental analysis का मतलब ये है to find out how strong this company is ultimately, whether this company's fundamentals are strong or not strong. If I make money investment in this company, will I make profit or will I make loss? Fundamental analysis will help you in arriving that understanding, and you will be able to take a right decision accordingly. So how to do the GEIC analysis? So friend, this is how you will do. So first you do the global environment. How is the Chinese economy doing? How is the US economy is doing? How is the European economy is doing? What is happening in Brazil? What is happening in Mexico? What is happening in rest of the world? Because today everything is globally interconnected. The products are interconnected, the services are interconnected, technologies are interconnected, uh, transfer of capital is interconnected, everything is interconnected. So you need to have a good understanding of the global economy, how the global economy is doing. After the global economy, then you shift and you come to the economy analysis and the industry analysis. So when it comes to the economy analysis, let's say for example India. So if you want to do the India's economy analysis, then what you need to find out? You need to find out as to how is the manufacturing sector doing, how is the agriculture sector doing, how is the service sector doing, and within these sectors, within the manufacturing and the service sector and the agriculture, which are the sectors doing even better. So this is what you will need to continuously identifying, right? And remember, always at any given point in time in any economy, there are certain industries which are doing well, there are certain industries which are not doing well. So obviously it is a continuing process. You will need to keep on finding out which are the industry not doing well, which are the industries not likely to do well. So if you are invested in a industry which is currently doing well but not likely to do well in future, then what you need to do? You immediately need to take a decision to divest your holding in that industry and get out of it before the prices of those shares fall. So you will need to do the economy analysis. So उसमें industry क्या है, economy service sector क्या है, agriculture क्या है, manufacturing क्या है, how is the India's forex situation, how is the interest situation, how is the inflation situation, how is the confidence about India's economy globally, how are the imports balance of payment situation. So all these factors, friends, you will need to look at. And remember, ultimately, what will make a country attractive to the rest of the world? What will make a country attractive to the rest of the world? So that the people from all over the world should come and invest their money into this country. So obviously, remember, everybody in the world is driven by better return. Everybody in the world is determined by a better return. So obviously people will come to India when they see India as a destination where they would be able to earn better return than what they would have earned from anywhere else. So that is what you would need to look at, so as to what kind of the foreign interest is there in the country. Look at the sectoral analysis, and after doing the global analysis, after looking at the economy, after analyzing the industries, then you come to the company analysis, because ultimately remember you are investing your money into the company. So industry बढ़िया चल रही है, इकोनॉमी बढ़िया चल रही है, सेक्टर बढ़िया कर रहा है, लेकिन जिस कंपनी में आपने इन्वेस्ट किया वो कंपनी का मैनेजमेंट ही थर्ड क्लास है, और वो कंपनी का मैनेजमेंट ही अगर फ्रॉडुलेंट है, so despite the fact that it is in good industry, despite the fact the economic conditions are good, still you will make a loss in this company. So therefore you also need to look at the company very meticulously. And now what you need to look at the company very meticulously, two things. Number one, look at the company's background. So look at the company's history. Who are the promoters? Which are the people in the management? What is the past track record of this group if it is a group, or what is the past track record of this company if it is a company? Does this company have subsidiaries? Does this company have a holding company, parent company? How is the parent company doing? How are the subsidiaries doing? So all that, what is the technology of the company? What are the products of the company? What is the market of the company? What are the geographical operations of the company? So you will really need to understand each and every aspect of this company, so as to determine as to how strong or weak this company is. So not only you look at the background, but you also look at the financial statement analysis. And that means what? That means you look at a few things. Number one, what you look at is the profitability. Number two, you look at the liquidity. Number three, you look at the solvency. Number four, you look at the financial leverage. Number five, you look at the efficiency. And number six, you look at the valuation. So these are the 6 things that you would need to look of a company as far as financial statement analysis is concerned. And remember friends, this you will need to do not only for the future but also for the past. So first, past से क्या मालूम पड़ेगा? Past से आपको मालूम पड़ेगा कि how is the history of this company, and then you do the same thing for the future, and that will give you an idea as to how this company is going to do in future. So you will do this GEIC analysis, which will give you fundamental strength of a company. Fundamental strength of a company. So you start with the understanding about the functioning of the securities market. Then you come to the point of gaining financial literacy, and after the financial literacy you come to the point of fundamental analysis. Having done the fundamental analysis, friends, what you have achieved, you have identified the right kind of companies where you can invest your money. And from here we will move to the point of how to find out the valuation of a company, right? So what are the approaches and methods? Because ultimately please remember, हमें क्या करना है? हमें कंपनीज में इन्वेस्ट करके प्रॉफिट कमाना है. तो हमें अगर कंपनीज में इन्वेस्ट करके प्रॉफिट कमाना है, तो हमारे पास में क्या होना चाहिए? हमारे पास में ये अंडरस्टैंडिंग होनी चाहिए कि हाउ टू डू द वैल्यूएशन. So let me now share with you friends how to do the valuation of the companies. Now, broadly speaking, there are 3 approaches for the purpose of doing valuation of any company. So the first approach is income approach. Under the income approach, there are 2 methods. One method is known as income capitalization method. So what you do in case of income capitalization method, you find out the average income of last 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, and you find out what is your cost of capital, and you capitalize the earnings, the average earning of the company last 4, 5, 6, 7 years by the cost of capital, and then you will get a value of that company, and you divide this value of the company by the number of shares, you will get the per value of that company. So this is one way of finding out the value of a company. Number 2 is known as discounted cash flow method. So in case of discounted cash flow method, which is also known as earning power method. So what is earning potential method? So discounted cash flow, what do you do? How do you do the valuation? So you project the future cash flows, and converting those future cash flows in terms of present value by using your cost of capital, you find out what is the present value of this company. So the total present value of all the future cash flows, including the terminal value, is supposed to be the value of this business. And you divide this value of this business by the number of shares, you will get a value per share. And then you can compare this value per share which you have arrived at with the price which is currently at which it is selling in the market. And please pay attention, that means what? That means कि जो आपने value workout किया using the discounted cash flow method, that value is coming to, let's say, 100 rupees. Currently it is selling in the market, it is trading in the market at less than 75 rupees. That means what? That means based on your analysis, which I'm assuming is a fundamental analysis, because आपने अब तक हमने जो डिस्कस किया है उसको पूरा अप्लाई किया है. तो फंडामेंटल एनालिसिस करने के बाद you arrived at the value of this company share at 100 rupees, whereas the share is currently trading at 75 rupees. That means this share is underpriced, and that means here you have an opportunity to enter this share, purchase them, because sooner or later this will touch to 100 rupees, and that is the time when you can sell the share and make a profit out of it. So that is how the discounted cash flow. Then you also have a market approach method. So under the market approach method, what you do, there is one is a comparable company method. That means जिस कंपनी को आप जिस कंपनी का वैल्यूएशन में आपको इंटरेस्ट है, you try and find out कि इसको जैसी और कोई कंपनी है क्या, और उसके जैसी अगर कोई कंपनी है तो उस कंपनी के वैल्यूएशंस क्या हैं. So you try and make valuation, use the valuations of a comparable company for the purpose of doing valuation of your company, and that's your comparable company method. Then you got a comparable transaction method. So comparable company is a whole company as a whole, and comparable transaction is only one transaction that must have taken place. So you try and find out at what value the transaction has been done. Accordingly, you can also do the find out the value following the comparable transaction method. And then the third approach is the asset approach or asset approach. Under the asset approach, you have four methods. Number one is book value method. So what is the book value method? Very simple, plain, straight, simple. Whatever values are given in the books, that is in the balance sheet, that becomes the value of the assets, value of the company. So take all the as value of all the assets minus all the liabilities. Whatever remains is supposed to be net worth of that company, net value of that company. Divide this net value by the number of shares, you will get the book value per share of that company. Then you got an adjusted book value method. Under the adjusted book value method, what you do little more than what you did in the book value method. So in case of book value method, what you did, you picked up the value as they were given in the balance sheet. Under the adjusted book value method, what you do, you don't take the value as they are given in the balance sheet. You find out that currently what is the actual realizable price of these assets. So make those adjustments, and that becomes your adjusted book value. Replacement method, that means if this asset has to be replaced in this current position, then what cost will need to be incurred. So that is your replacement method. And finally, liquidation value. That means if this company has to be sold off, then how much money we will get minus the expenses that I will need to incur in disposing this company. So what value will I get? That becomes the value, book value. That becomes the value based on the asset methods. So friends, these are the approaches and methods. You will have to have very good understanding of all these approaches and all these methods for you to be able to make money from the share market. It is absolutely necessary, absolutely imperative, and you can definitely do it without any problem. So remember, income approach is the most fundamental. Market approach, as far as the quoted price is concerned, is okay, but market approach is more to be used, in my view, as support to the income approach. And the book approach or the asset approach will only tell you what is the minimum that you can expect as a value for this company. So liquidation, the asset approach only gives you the book value, whereas the income approach takes into account the earning power. And so is the case with the market approach. So market approach invariably would also take into account as to what is the perception in the market about the value. So the perception in the market about the value will always be based on the earning power of that company, and therefore market approach, remember, can also be used, but it should be used, in my view, more as a support to the income approach, because many times I can give you thousands of examples. Market approach have failed the investor very badly, as much as people have become bankrupt because they invested their money using the market approach, and finally those shares dipped like and nosedived, and as a result of that, the complete investment of such people was washed away, and they became bankrupt. Now, how to find the value stock, growth stock, and the multi-baggers. So remember, friends, first of all, it is almost a full-time job. It is almost a full-time job to try to earn and money from the share market. So when I say full-time job, that means what? That means initially, initially for some time, number one, for any one of us to be able to make money, make profit, make become rich from the share market. Number one, please remember, it is definitely possible. And I'm saying it with full responsibility. It is definitely possible for any person to become rich from the share market. Only thing is, he has to be studious and he has to be rational. And number two, he has to have good understanding of the financial literacy. And number two, he has to have good understanding of the fundamental analysis. Now, these are the two things which is absolutely imperative. He has to be, he has to have it. Now, I say it is almost a full-time job is primarily because these two requirements are only one time. So when I say one time, that means when you are entering the share market, at that time you got to have a financial literacy. At that time you got to have the understanding of the fundamental analysis. Now, once you are into the share market, once you have these two things already, then it is almost a full-time job. And that is why I'm saying it is almost a full-time job. That means शुरू करेंगे तब तक कुछ समय के लिए फुल टाइम जॉब के जैसा रहेगा, बिकॉज आपने कहीं इन्वेस्ट कर दिया, आपकी निगाह उस इन्वेस्टमेंट के ऊपर रहनी चाहिए, अदरवाइज यू माइट इनकर अ लॉस. लेकिन आप एक बार उतर गए, फिर आपको हमेशा बहुत ज्यादा टाइम देने की जरूरत नहीं है, एंड यू कैन स्टिल मेक मनी. Scan Economic Times and Dalal Street Journal and other journals and newspapers relating to the business and finance continuously, religiously, without fail. ये बहुत जरूरी है. मार्केट में क्या हो रहा है इसकी नॉलेज आपको होना बहुत जरूरी है, बहुत जरूरी है. So that is what, for you to be able to find out the value stocks, growth stocks, and multi-baggers. Please remember, how will you identify growth stocks or value stocks or multi-baggers? They will not come in your dreams. Impossible. Forget about it. You will be able to identify all these things only by keeping yourself abreast with what is happening in the economy, what is happening in the market. So when you do that, you automatically, because of your involvement and engagement, you would be able to realize by yourself, oh, this company looks to be attractive, let me go deeper into it, let me do the fundamental analysis of this company, let me find out about this company. And then based on your own research and analysis, you will come to a conclusion, this company going forward is going to give me fantastic returns, it's going to be multi-bagger, and this is how you will be able to identify. So remember, it's almost a full-time job. Number two, keep on scanning Economic Times, Financial Express, Business Standard, or whatever, Dalal Street, or any other journal for that matter, but you must do it. Keep yourself totally abreast with the developments in the economy. You can just not ignore it. Be analytical to all such events. Application of mind is must. COVID is breaking out. Market is likely to go down. Be analytical. And why the market is going to go down? Because of the COVID lockdown. Because of the lockdown, no economic activity. No economic activity. Sentiments will be low. Sentiments will be low. The market will be low. Market is low, but सेंटीमेंट्स में भी लो, फंडामेंटल्स आर स्टिल स्ट्रॉन्ग. मारुति की जो फैक्ट्रियां हैं वहीं की वहीं हैं, हीरो होंडा की जो फैक्ट्री है वो वहीं की वहीं है, बजाज की जो फैक्ट्री है वो वहीं की वहीं है, इन्फोसिस वहीं की वहीं है, टीसीएस वहीं की वहीं है, Wipro वहीं की वहीं है. All the companies are there where they are. There is no earthquake, there is no tsunami. It's not that all the companies and the buildings and everything has gone down and therefore it'll take them long time to stand up. No, everything is there. It's only a matter of time. Once the lockdown opens up, the economic activity will immediately perk up, and that is what today is happening. And therefore, at the time of the COVID happening, that was a wonderful opportunity to enter. And that today what is happening is all those people who must have entered at that point in time have made a good killing. And at the same time, all the people who left the stock market that time have burned their fingers, and they have burned them so badly that they will not never forget for whole of their life. Be aware, and you will never make such mistake, and you will definitely make very good profit from the share market, because please remember, share market is the place from where you must make good profit, good return, good, you must become rich from the share market. It is meant for that purpose. Identification of attractive sectors based on economy analysis. So once you do that, you will be able to identify by yourself. Remember, लोगों से चर्चा करिए, लोगों से बात करिए, लोगों से डिस्कस करिए, लेकिन डिपेंड अपने ऊपर रहिए. You want to find out which is good industry, talk to the whole world, but you must depend on yourself in coming to the conclusion as to which is the good industry. So identification of promising company using financial analysis. So what we have discussed as part of the financial analysis, make use of that. By making use of that, you would be able to definitely be able to identify the strong companies that will give you good return going forward. Study the specific company to confirm that the analysis done is in line with the ground situation. तो आपने कंपनी आइडेंटिफाई करी और उसमें आपने सोचा कि आप इन्वेस्ट करेंगे. अब आपको क्या करना है, ये कंपनी को थोड़ा डीप में जाइए, थोड़ा डीप में जाइए, कंपनी के बारे में और मालूम करिए, जरूरत पड़े तो कंपनी के प्लांट को विजिट करिए, because as an investor you can always talk to the CFO, of course, by taking prior appointments and things like that, but you can talk to them, visit the plant and get a feel as to how this company is doing, and based on that you take a decision. Make investment and keep monitoring continuously for mid-course actions and corrections. Finally, friends, this is your sure path for becoming rich from share market. So friends, with this, we come to the close of this session. Thank you so much. And I wish you fantastic success in the share market. Please remember, share market is meant to become rich. You only have to follow what we have discussed and keep on building on what we have discussed. You only have to ensure that you are rational in your approach, and you only have to ensure that you are studious about the share market. And I'm sure you will become rich, become an example for many other people to follow. Thank you so much. In case if there are any queries, I would be happy to take them. Thank you so much.
Very good evening, sir, and thank you all the participants.
Good evening, Krishna. How are you?
I'm good, sir. Thank you, sir, for sharing your inputs, and it was indeed a wonderful session. A lot of comments are there in the chat box regarding the session of today's. And yes, sir, I believe that you have explained the things like the basics and the fundamental analysis which needs to be done before investing in the shares. And the way you explain the GEIC model, that is the global economic and industry company model, in such a way that a layman can understand what needs to be done before getting into the trading into the share market. And also the approaches and methods of evaluation were explained so nicely that it is very much easy to understand for all the participants, sir. And yes, sir, and even you have mentioned that it is the right time to invest amid the pandemic, since the market is at its low, but definitely it will rise slowly and consistently, since all the companies are having their manufacturing factories or their infrastructures at their own places, and definitely there will be a boom in market in the coming times. So indeed it was an excellent session, sir.
Maybe
Yes, sir.
you can in case if anyone has any question, they can ask. Uh,
Yes, sir. As of now, in chat box, we don't have any question, but I request all the participants, if they want to discuss anything with sir regarding the share market and trading, and how to make money big time in the trading and in the share market, definitely they can ask here. We will wait for a couple of minutes to get some queries from the participants. And yes, for the sake of benefit of all the participants, I would like to reiterate that the recorded session will be available there on the Pimpri Chinchur Education Trust, Pune Business School, the YouTube channel, as well as on Facebook also.
and our tomorrow's session will be at 12 o'clock. So only for tomorrow's session, there's a change in the time. It will be at 12 to 1, not at our usual time from 5 to 6. So I would request all the participants to note this change in the time. So tomorrow from 12 to 1.
Yes, sir. The same will be communicated to all the participants, all the stakeholders, and the arrangements will be done accordingly, sir. Thank you, sir. Thanks a ton.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Yes, Satish ji, it's such a pleasure to see you. Really, I appreciate your presence for all these sessions. And I hope you're enjoying all these sessions, Satish
Yes,
ji.
sir.
Yeah.
Very much. You may not be able to imagine how much beneficial all these sessions are to me.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sir, there is one query
Yeah.
from Mr. Harshal Bhole. Sir, how we know how is the financial condition?
Okay. So, Harshad, what you're asking is how to know the financial condition of the company in which you are wanting to make the investment. So, remember, as I said, to know the financial condition of a company, you will need to look at the balance sheet. And by looking at the balance sheet, you will be able to figure out as to how strong or weak फाइनेंशियल पोजीशन ऑफ द कंपनी. तो अगर एक कंपनी के पास में रिजर्व्स का फिगर काफी अच्छा है एंड कंपनी हैज गॉट मोर टेंजिबल एसेट्स, देन इट्स ए गुड साइन. रिजर्व्स अगर ज्यादा है कंपनी के, now what does it mean? It means this company has made profit for last so many years, and all those profits have been plowed back, and that increases the financial strength of a company. So these are the some of the things that you can you can look at. Number two, you can look at the current assets. तो अगर एक कंपनी की इन्वेंट्री बहुत ज्यादा है, रिमेंबर एसेट है, लेकिन अगर अमाउंट ऑफ इन्वेंट्री बहुत ज्यादा है, दैट इज नॉट अ गुड साइन. रिसीवेबल, इट्स एन एसेट, लेकिन अगर रिसीवेबल का फिगर बहुत ज्यादा है, इट इज नॉट अ गुड साइन. एंड व्हाई इट इज नॉट अ गुड साइन? बिकॉज अगर रिसीवेबल का फिगर बहुत ज्यादा है, इसका मतलब सो मच ऑफ मनी हैज टू बी रिकवर्ड बाय द कंपनी from the customer. That means so much of efforts will be required by the company in getting that money. So that's not a good sign. So this is how you can figure out as to whether it is a how is the financial strength of the company.
Sir, uh, here I would like to make clear,
Hmm.
because my fundamentals are getting a very strong here, as I'm not coming from a commerce background. I was just limping in many respects because I have never attended BCom classes and all. So whatever fundamental things which I have missed, though I have become a company secretary, though I have worked as a company secretary and become successful in legal matters, but certain things of commerce which are at a very fundamental level and must be understood to make everything efficient and effective. All your lecture series are very, very helpful to me. And that is why I said you cannot imagine, because unless you are a totally different person like science student and then missing out certain commerce elements, those things are, those voids are getting filled up here. And it will definitely make me strong for my further career, which I am estimating at least for 15 years from now.
Absolutely, Satish ji. Thank you so much. Why
Yeah.
50, 20, 25?
Yes, yes,
Yes,
definitely.
absolutely. Yes. Thank you
Thank you,
so much,
Satish
Satish
sir.
ji. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Satish
you.
Thank you.
sir.
Yeah,
Your valuable feedback will definitely boost us to have many more such kind of sessions with Pramod Jain sir. Thanks a ton, sir.
definitely. Definitely. Even I would like to contribute to that. That will be my pleasure.
Definitely, sir. We will make it happen in future, sir. Definitely.
Yes, yes.
Okay,
Thank you so much, sir.
Harshal is asking, I think last question. Harshal is asking, is this the right time to invest in stocks?
Yeah,
Harshal, remember, every time is the right time to make investment, but every investment decision has to be thoughtfully. So you can still be able to find certain scripts which can still give you good return, but those will have to be searched. Those will have to be searched. So today, you cannot close your eyes and make investment. Today you want to make investment, you will have to do good amount of research.
Thank you, sir.
on behalf of Pimpri Chinchwad Education Trust, Pune Business School, I, Professor Krishna Ainanivar, once again, say thankful to all the participants and Pramod Jain sir for delivering such a wonderful session. So tomorrow we will be meeting at sharp 12 noon. Thank you, sir. Thank you all the
Thank you.
participants.
Thanks to everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.